Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell. In this video, we're going to look at materials management. We're continuing to look at the way a business can improve its effectiveness and efficiency. And in this video, we're looking at a way that a business can improve its effectiveness and efficiency using materials management strategies. So materials management is all about managing the way materials are received and stored so that the right amount of materials are available when required. So when a business actually wants to produce something, whether that be a good or a service, they have the right amount of materials required to actually produce that. So the operations manager needs to ensure that the materials arrive in the right place, in the right quantities, at the right time, and also with the desired quality, so that a product or a good or service can be produced, but also it can be produced at the right time with the desired quality. Now, businesses need to ensure they have enough materials for production. However, storing large quantities can be problematic. It is definitely one strategy that businesses can use, is to order large quantities of materials and just store them for long periods of time so that they never run out in terms of having them for production. However, that can be a really expensive strategy to use. One problem is that stock can become damaged. If it's stored for a long period of time, it can be damaged. It can increase wastage. If it's a perishable item and it goes past its use by date, if it's fashion items and all of a sudden it becomes out of fashion, if it's a technology and it becomes obsolete, that can cause lots of wastage. Also, storage costs money. The facility in terms of where materials are stored, that costs money, and also idle stock costs money because it is money that is tied up in stock that can't be invested elsewhere. And if that stock is idle for a long period of time, then it's money that business cannot use and put elsewhere. So what are some strategies to actually manage the materials in a more effective manner? And that's what we're going to look at, and there are specific ones listed in our study design. Now, the first strategy listed in our study design is forecasting, which uses past data and trends to try and determine future events so that informed decisions can be made around materials. Businesses use forecasting to ensure they maintain the appropriate levels of materials so that production can meet market demand. If market demand increases or decreases, they want to be able to meet that demand without overproducing or underproducing. Now, if market demand does increase, they need to make sure they have a right amount of materials to meet that demand. Otherwise, they'll sell out and won't be able to meet that market demand. However, if the market demand decreases, the last thing a business wants to do is be overstocked with materials that they may no longer require, and therefore that can be really costly to the business. Forecasting can be done simply by looking at past data. For example, if a business is approaching a Christmas period, they can forecast and look at what they did last Christmas period, and that can help give an indication of what they need to produce in this current period. Also, looking at market trends, if customers are purchasing a particular product more over the last couple of months, that can help, or forecasting can help determine what the production will be in the future, and also assessing business information. So if they're producing a new marketing campaign or a new product is hitting the market, that can help give an indication that they need to start producing more. The next material strategy is called a master production schedule, or what you'll see is an MPS. It's a detailed outline of what is to be produced, in what quantities, when it's going to be produced. So it breaks down a production plan, which is an overall plan of what a business is going to produce, in terms of the quantity and type of each product or service that's going to be produced, how, when, and where the production will take place, and also the labour requirements. So how many employees are required to actually meet this master production schedule. This allows the business to plan their inputs, so their materials, so that they have enough resources to meet the master production schedule. So if a business knows exactly how many of each product they're going to produce, when and where they're going to produce, that can help enable them to start to plan what materials they are needed to order. And when they have the master production schedule, they can then produce what's known as materials requirement planning. So this is these two are a way of planning the materials for the business. Materials requirement planning is an itemized list of materials that are required to meet the master production schedule. To successfully plan the required materials, it's important that the operations manager, first of all, needs to consider the stock that they have on hand. So if they look at it and they go, well, we need 100 pallets of this, and they've got 50 already on hand, then they only need to order 50. Also, supplier lead-in times, which is how long it takes suppliers to deliver materials. Some suppliers can deliver materials that day, while others will take time to meet that demand, or to meet the order that a business is putting in. Also, the number of materials required to meet the orders or meet the master production schedule. So that's important. There's some of the key points when dealing with materials requirement planning. But essentially, it's just an itemized list of materials that are required to meet the orders that are being received, or the master production schedule. The last strategy listed in our study design is called a just-in-time strategy, and it's a strategy that ensures the right amount of materials arrive just as they are needed in the operation system. Rather than holding large quantities of stock on site, what the business does is ensures that materials only arrive as they are needed in the production system. So it ensures the exact amount of materials or inputs arrive only as they are needed, rather than holding large quantities of stock on hand. So therefore, it reduces things like wastage, damaged stock, and also that's saves money and space on storage, and that space can be used to increase production, and also that money can be invested elsewhere. However, one of the issues is that if materials don't arrive on time, it can slow or halt production, because the production process needs to wait until those materials arrive. The just-in-time system was made really popular by Toyota, and it's been adopted by Dell, and they've been able to increase their productivity dramatically with this strategy. So what happens is that orders come in either through a call center or online. That notifies the Dell computer software. That will then notify the production system or the production plant on what needs to be produced. Now, orders are made with suppliers, and supplies arrive every 2 hours throughout the day. And what happens, everything's barcoded, so the whole computer system can track what comes in, what materials come in, and what goes out. And it also tracks the orders that are coming in, so it knows the exact materials. That's like a materials requirement plan. It knows the exact materials that are required to meet the orders, and those trucks or those materials arrive every 2 hours. So what it's done, it's reduced storage in the operation system. It's saved lots of money and also improved productivity just by using a just-in-time system. Now, just to recap, the operations manager needs to ensure the right materials arrive in the right quantities at the right time with the desired quality. Remember, we're looking at how a business can improve its effectiveness and efficiency, and we're using materials management strategies to do so. And the materials management strategies listed in our study design that we went through today are forecasting, the master production schedule, the materials requirement plan, and the just-in-time system, where the materials are arriving just as they are needed for production. So for questions, activities, and more, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.